Welcome, dear listener, to an immersive journey through time. Picture cobbled streets echoing with the sound of hoofbeats, candlelit workshops, and the hushed corridors of royal palaces. This is the world of Renaissance Europe, a time of grand ideas, beautiful art, and some truly bizarre jobs. Today, we'll uncover 10 of the oddest, most surprising professions of this era. These weren't merely jobs. They were reflections of the beliefs, fears, and eccentricities of their time. So sit back, open your mind, and prepare to meet the unsung workers who lived strange, often uncomfortable lives, all in the name of necessity, superstition, or honor. Our journey begins in the courts of kings and princes, where boys played not just games, but political roles. The whipping boy was a peculiar position reserved for a child of lesser nobility. His sole purpose? To take the physical punishment for a royal child. Why? Because a prince, considered divinely appointed, was seen as too sacred to be struck, even by his own tutor. But discipline was still necessary. Enter the whipping boy. If the prince misbehaved in his lessons, his companion would receive the lashings instead. The hope was that the prince, bound by friendship and guilt, would learn to behave. Whipping boys often became close friends with their royal counterparts. Some even wielded subtle influence in court, yet theirs was a confusing, painful place, punished not for their sins, but for the whims of royalty. Perhaps no job combines dignity and indignity quite like the groom of the stool. This was no lowly servant. The groom was a trusted courtier, often a nobleman, charged with assisting the king in one of his most private rituals, using the toilet. Specifically, the groom helped the king during and after his bowel movements, ensuring cleanliness and even keeping track of his digestive health. But more than hygiene, this job was about intimacy. The groom had daily private access to the monarch, access others would beg for. Under Henry VIII, the role carried real political weight. Grooms of the stool became powerful advisors, privy to secrets and decisions made behind the curtain of formality. Ironically, this most humiliating of roles was often a stepping stone to power. In the shadowy world between religion and superstition lived the sin eater. This role was common in rural areas, especially in parts of Britain. When someone died, their family would place bread and ale on the corpse. The sin eater consumed the food, symbolically absorbing the dead person's sins, allowing their soul to rest. The origins of this custom are murky. Part pagan ritual, part desperate insurance policy for the afterlife. Sin eaters were often social outcasts. Though they performed a vital service, they were seen as spiritually polluted. Imagine it, arriving at a grieving family's home, sitting beside the body, silently eating the food meant to carry away a soul's burden. It's eerie, sad, and deeply human. A reminder of how far people would go to protect their loved ones. Even the Freifern. Snorri, life in Renaissance cities wasn't just art and enlightenment. It was also filth, disease, and rats. Lots of rats. The rat catcher was a crucial, if grimy, profession, tasked with trapping or killing rats. These individuals helped control vermin that spread plagues and destroyed food stores. Rat catchers used dogs, ferrets, and homemade traps. Some claim to have mystical powers to lure rats. Others showcase their catch in public squares. But it was dangerous work. Rats carried fleas, which carried disease. The most famous of all, the Black Death. While often viewed with suspicion, rat catchers played an essential role in urban health. Their job was dirty, thankless, and occasionally heroic. Long before lab tests and expiration dates, the human nose was a frontline defense. The smell tester, employed in royal courts and noble households, used their olfactory senses to detect spoiled food, rancid oils, or, more dramatically, poisons. These testers were sometimes servants, sometimes trained perfumers. They sniffed meats, wines, perfumes, and even armpits. Yes, armpits. In a time when hygiene was questionable, some nobles employed testers to judge body odors before social gatherings. But sniffing out danger came with risk. A misjudged poison could mean death. Yet for those with a keen nose, it was a way to gain favor and stay alive. Perhaps the most iconic odd job of the era. The court jester was more than a fool in a funny hat. These performers were comedians, musicians, mimics, and surprisingly, truth-tellers. Jesters had the rare privilege of mocking nobles and monarchs without punishment. Their wit and humor allowed them to critique court politics and royal decisions in coded jokes or clever rhymes. Many jesters were highly educated. Some were physically disabled and turned their uniqueness into a form of expression. Will Somers, jester to Henry VIII, was so beloved that he remained in court for decades. Far from buffoons, jesters were mirrors held up to power, laughing, but always watching. A role both reviled and required, the executioner was society's ultimate enforcer. Tasked with carrying out beheadings, hangings, and other gruesome sentences, this job required precision, strength, and emotional fortitude. Executioners were often shunned, forced to live outside city walls and marry within their own kind. Yet, they were well paid and protected by law. In a time when public executions were spectacles, a skilled executioner could end a life swiftly or painfully, depending on orders. The job took a toll. Some drank heavily, others sought forgiveness through religion. They remind us that justice, in its darkest forms, still needed human hands. Science and magic blurred in the dusty labs of Renaissance alchemists. These individuals pursued secrets of nature, most famously, the philosopher's stone that could turn lead to gold or grant eternal life. Alchemists studied metals, herbs, astrology, and spiritual texts. While many were charlatans, others laid groundwork for modern chemistry. Some alchemists, like Paracelsus, combined medicine with mysticism. They experimented with compounds, created tinctures, and even performed surgeries. Though their goals were fantastical, their curiosity pushed the boundaries of human knowledge. Before modern mirrors, polished metal was the only way to see one's reflection. Mirror polishers worked meticulously to create smooth, reflective surfaces using tin, bronze, or silver. It was delicate labor. Any scratch ruined the effect. These mirrors weren't perfect, often warped or dim. Still, they were prized possessions. A good mirror symbolized vanity, wealth, and status. In art and religion, mirrors represented truth or illusion. Polishers were part artisan, part philosopher, shaping how others saw themselves. A symbol of refinement and romance, gloves were the accessories of choice among the elite. Glove makers crafted them from fine leathers, kid, lamb, or even exotic skins, and scented them with lavender or rose. Beyond warmth or modesty, gloves were tokens of love, status, and power. A gifted glove could seal a courtship or a political alliance. The finest gloves were embroidered with gold thread or pearls, Some bore family crests or secret compartments. In a world obsessed with appearances, the glovemaker helped people wear their identity on their hands. So what do these strange jobs tell us? That every society, no matter how enlightened, has its oddities. Roles born from fear, faith, fashion, or necessity. These people were not jokes. They were vital gears in the great machine of Renaissance life. From the sin-eater's lonely meal to the groom of the stool's whispered secrets, each job reveals a hidden side of history. Thank you for joining this curious journey through time. May it inspire you to look beyond the obvious and find wonder in the forgotten corners of the past. Until next time, keep questioning and keep imagining.